if it doesn't reach the threshold of your health system. But once it reaches the threshold of your health system, mortality and people dying will be a lot. And you all know how big our health system is. So don't push it. Kes pertama yang mana ujian awal didapati positif dijangkiti COVID-19. Kesemua ahli keluarga yang tinggal serumah bersama pesakit telah diberikan notis untuk menjalani kuarantin selama 14 hari. Kontak-kontak tersebut juga akan menjalani ujian.
As a monitoring measure based on the patient's travel history to an affected country and displaying symptoms of respiratory infection, a test to detect COVID-19 was carried out. Initial test results revealed that the patient was positive for COVID-19.
Case 128, age 36 years old, is the wife of case 111.
The cleaning campaign continued today at mosques, surau and religious halls in the Tutong district. It is part of the Ministry of Religious Affairs initiative and efforts through the Brunei Islamic Religious Council.
The Ministry of Health advised to continue social physical distancing while in public places.
Pada 15 Mac, warga dan penduduk asing Brunei tidak dibenarkan keluar dari negara berikutan pandemik COVID-19.
This is what we call a phacoemulsification machine. So when we do cataract surgery, it breaks up the lens with ultrasound energy.
I'm Helena. I'm a pediatric ophthalmologist in Brunei. From March to May this year, I was deployed as a COVID-19 frontliner in the Ripas Hospital Sports Complex. Once the first case was announced back in the beginning of March, for myself anyway, for this department, the first thing I did actually was go out and buy a thermometer, and I remember that things go viral really quickly here, and there was a shortage of thermometers all around the country, so I finally found one. And before any instructions came, I think the first thing that we wanted to do was make sure ourselves, but particularly our patients, were protected. Just, got ourselves ready pretty quickly. We bought them, made sure we had some masks on hand and temperature checks, making sure we had a standard health questionnaire. Yeah, that's what we did. So when the first case was announced back in the beginning of March, when the press conference kind of popped up on doing its rounds, I think we all knew, but we all had that sinking suspicion, and then it was confirmed, obviously, that the first cases had arrived in Brunei. I think it's like with everyone else, there was that little bit of like heart sink and the shock, because you always feel like you're immune until it actually hits you.
Well, as much as it sounds exciting, the fact that the school holidays started earlier, we were not ready. So we panicked a little bit. As a teacher who holds exam classes, it means chasing our curriculum time and changing our curriculum time as well. We actually had plans for the holidays, especially me and my kids, a holiday abroad. But obviously that had to change when they made the announcement. We knew that we had to cancel our tickets and our bookings. So we pretty much spent the holiday homebound.
First reaction macam shock lah.
Until everything is all settled down.
We have a lot of clients and upcoming businesses to shoot. We have strategized and do a lot of storyboard and everything. Tapi end up like macam, yeah, okay, sorry, we couldn't do this project. So I have to understand our client and also us, even though there's a terms and condition, but this pandemic is not everyone's fault, and yeah, so we have to return all our deposit and stuff, and then we have to reflect back on like what can we do after that. Yeah.
We are also very concerned about the health of our economy and the job securities of our people. And this is an area that we have been working very hard to ensure that we do our best to protect the jobs of our workers, and so that our economy and our private sectors continue to thrive. There are many measures that we have introduced, including deferment of TAP payment, SCP payment. The government announced the first set of monetary policy measures. We announced another set of fiscal policies measures. We are trying to help our private sector to protect the jobs for our workers and for the well-being of the population.
I need it by next week Monday, so any questions that you want to actually pose, you can just WhatsApp. I'll see you guys next week, alright? I started off with Zoom, maybe like for a week, and then I realized that a lot of them couldn't commit to it because of the internet, because of laptop, obviously all the households using them.
The Ministry of Education has negotiated with telecommunication companies to assist students involved in online learning. Among the facilities available are lists of educational websites, and using such websites would not reduce the students' data. Awang Abdul Wafi Sia bin Abdul Asia, principal of Sultan Hassan Bangar Secondary School, handed over the devices to the parents of selected students. The contribution is part of the Ministry of Education's joint effort with the cooperation of the Ministry of Transport and Info Communications and the Brunei Darussalam Authority for Info Communication Technology Industry (AITI) in ensuring the donated learning devices.
In the end, I said, you know what, okay, I could just stick to WhatsApp as well. Because it's hands-on, they get to do it on their own and then kind of like get some reflective criticisms from me, although I still use Google Classroom to put resources as well. When the new type of e-learning started, it was just so overwhelming. I cannot even start on how depressed I felt, how overwhelmed I felt as a teacher, and plus as a mom, it was just a struggle. Do you like being in school or at home? In school. In school, oh good girl. What did your teacher ask you to do exercise? A few pros, because at least I get to be home, you know, with my kids. There are times I just want a break. But you know, usually work would be a place for me to have a break from the kids because I'll be, you know, doing work. But then at home, I can't just seem to divide work with like being a mother as well, so it's not as easy.
Tahun ini dah jalan, dah hari raya. Dulu satu hari arah abang yang tua, banyak sekali arah ngangah nih. Makan saja tuh dari pagi sampai petang. Malamnya tuh kami ada takbir. Ini musik ini indah berani. Dah berani banyak kan adik berat. Dalam rumah saja. Dulu beda lah. Jadi untuk adik-beradik.
Hai. Saan si Caca? Hai Caca. Caca. Kumain ka na, Caca? Kumain ka na? Kumain ka na? Nagagatas ka pa, Caca? Mamaya magka-virus kayo dyan. Sige ko. Saan ma? Ligpit na.
I did have some plans to go home.
You have plenty of plans.
Plenty of plans, so we were going to go home. Obviously, we're not going home now, and that's fine for our family. However, it is always quite difficult, again, to think, when will you be able to get home?
You think, okay, well maybe we can go in December holiday, and then that looks increasingly like, because the rate of change is now really slow.
Yeah.
So, are we going to be able to go back? Unless there's an emergency, then realistically not. Then people are going to be considering where is the best place for them to live for the next little part of their life.
As soon as the first few cases were announced in China, in Wuhan, we actually had a team from the Ministry of Health, and they flew out, and we were prepared. The government, the ministry, we were prepared that eventually it would reach the shores. It was inevitable.
Bagi menampung keperluan ujian makmal COVID-19 yang semakin meningkat ke bawah Duli Yang Maha Mulia Paduka Seri Baginda Sultan dan Yang di-Pertuan Negara Brunei Darussalam telah memperkenankan bagi pembinaan sebuah makmal virologi tambahan yang terletak di Jalan Sumbiling, Bandar Seri Begawan.
Baginda menggariskan langkah-langkah yang diambil oleh kerajaan termasuk meningkatkan kapasiti kerja dan pembinaan makmal virologi tambahan.
Projek tersebut yang menelan belanja 1.2 juta ringgit dijangka siap pada 31 Mac ini.
The measures taken, and also why I feel that Brunei has been so successful in its handling of the pandemic, that we are a country with a very strong community feel. We knew that to protect others and to protect ourselves, it just meant to adhere to the advice given by the Ministry of Health and the government. So we all did our part in terms of the social distancing, in terms of strict hygiene measures. We were scared. I mean, some of the cases that I personally swabbed myself were positive. Now, I have 2 small kids. So I had to socially distance myself from my kids, particularly in the beginning when we didn't know what we were dealing with. And yeah, I remember not seeing my family, and this was the same for a lot of the frontliners. We were scared that we would bring something home. We were scared of, because we just didn't want other people to catch it. Yeah, when that first case was announced, I think the only word I can say is that it was a really fearful time, and when you have such a tight community like the Bruneian community is, it is like losing a family member.
Patan ini saya mewakili keluarga Kementerian Kesehatan dan seluruh rakyat negara Brunei Darussalam. Mengucapkan takziah kepada keluarga Allahyarham dan berdoa semoga rohnya dijujur rahmat dan ditempatkan bersama para salih. Al-Fatihah. Auzubillahi minasyaitanir rajim. Alhamdulillah rabbil alamin. Ar-Rahmanir Rahim. Maliki yawmiddin. Ya na'budu wa ya nasta'in. الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
I feel reassured by the measures. I think obviously we can't always fully let our guard down. And I hear this conversation a lot when people say to me that, Brunei, and not just the locals, our expatriate community, they're so grateful to be here. There is this semblance of a normal life, right? I mean, you almost feel like you're living in a bubble, and obviously everyone just wants to get on a plane and have a break from here. Everyone's getting a bit of cabin fever, but I think we're all grateful to be able to have something that resembles a normal life, because unlike other countries right now who are going through their second, third waves, we've managed to keep it at that initial rise.
For this schooling session, according to Yang Berhormat, learning and teaching via face-to-face will begin in stages. This is to ensure the safety, health and well-being of students as well as the school staff in the country all remain secured.
Having to teach in a physical classroom, of course I had my worries, but at the same time I'm quite happy to actually go back to the norm. Because to be honest with you, throughout the home-based learning, one thing for sure, I miss my students, and having to see them physically, face to face, that's something that I really miss. And I'm sure my students actually felt the same way, deep down, they miss me too. When you think about the whole changes and the different things that we had to go throughout the pandemic actually taught us something very important, that there is definitely different techniques or methods in learning that we could actually use.
Yes, I'm happy now. I see here in Brunei because they treat me as family also. Di ko na feel na ibang tao ako, different people na bigla na lang pumasok dito. Yun. Kaya napaka-swerte ko. I'm so blessed because I have a boss like that. They so nice to me. They're kind to me. Yun. Feel talaga nila na feel at home. Yan. Like that.
Once our store open sudah, start like back to work slowly, and then sometimes like we have to look for jobs juga. Like for example, like ada yang macam ask for digital content, so we help diorang punya Instagram. Masa ni like everything is online, right? And then macam people look at the content semua apa, so we help them to do that. And then so far it's bagus lah that particular stuff that we do.
Kita rida saja, kita tambah Allah. Ya. Kalau penyakit itu kan datang, jangan kita ni takut. Kita rida dan berdoa, ya Allah, ringankan. Kita ni takut pun Tuhan memberi, rida saja. Di sebalik itu, ini lagi ada dokter kan, mengeluhkan ini. Kita ikut saja. Macam itu. Bapak kata ni kan dokter. Untuk keselamatan kita ni, itulah itu. Ya tak, kalau penyakit itu kan datang, jangan kita ni takut, berdoa kepada Tuhan, minta ringankan lah. Ya kan memberi petani, itu karena petani minta ringankan, karena petani tapi ini dah barat. Macam itu. Di desa di petani yang Allah.